Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff Capes. I wanted to come to you during this very difficult and time of uncertainty. We certainly are in a place that we never thought we would be. You know, my thoughts and prayers go out for us all, for everyone. I understand that some probably have been affected more than others. And certainly for those people, certainly my heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out for you as well. You know, we are in a time of uncertainty. There's uncharted waters. We're not sure what direction we're going to be headed, what's next, what's coming. And I know that creates a lot of anxiety and anxiousness and those things on many levels. You know, but please know that we're in this together. And as we go through this process, I hope you'll see that. And as we work together, hopefully, we can get through a process where we can get back to a level of safety and comfort, not only for me in my practice, but just in our lives as well. So my prayer is that we certainly will get through this, that we'll come out a little bit better. And that's the reason I really wanted to come to you and share this information. So why don't we go back, let's do a little history lesson. Let's turn back the dial of time. Let's go back before there was coronavirus, before we even heard the word COVID-19 or, pandemic. I've been in practice for 22 years and certainly been blessed to do something I very much love and have a passion for. But from day one, the priority has always been about safety. We're not just doing a procedure, we have to do a safe procedure. So from the very start when we opened our practice, we implemented guidelines and protocols that would not only keep us safe, but they would keep you safe. And there's a lot of it out there. There are multiple organizations that we have to turn to. The American Dental Association, our state Georgia Dental Association. There's the Centers for Disease Control. I think everyone's pretty aware of that right now. And there's also the Occupational and Health Safety Administration. We lean on these organizations to provide us with the proper recommendations for treating you safely. Now, part of that process is we go through that information all the time because things do change. We also implement annual training where we spend a whole day, sometimes a day and a half, on nothing but looking at our protocols, reviewing the guidelines, making sure that we're up to date and doing everything properly. I have a dedicated staff person, just a single person, whose sole job and responsibility is to always stay on top of those things. And it's no small task. This is almost a weekly and monthly, constantly revisions and changes. But it takes having a single person that keeps up to date on those things for us. Part of what we do since we do surgery, and this should certainly be important to you, is, how do we make sure we're treating you safely? What about our instruments? What's our protocols? Well, we have a very unique process that really not most offices have. We take our instruments through a two-step cleaning process. So once they finish the two-step cleaning process, literally they're 99% sterile. Then our instruments go into our state-of-the-art sterilizers for full sterilization, thus assuring that when we're treating you, our instruments are completely safe. Let's talk about our sterilizers. The protocol is you have to test those once a month to make sure they're working properly. Well, in my office, that's just not acceptable. We test our sterilizers once a week. So as you can see, there are multiple layers of things that are done in our practice daily, weekly, monthly, annually, all about safety. But again, let's turn back the hands of time. This conversation started before coronavirus, before a pandemic, before COVID-19. These are all the things that we were doing day in and day out for your safety. And I wanted to share that with you because that should give you a level of comfort. Are we going to do things differently going forward? Well, absolutely. And those are the things that I'll share with you as we go through this video a little more. So now fast forward. We come to the new reality of today, a different time, certainly a time of uncertainty. So I want to walk you through what's happened here the last 6 or 8 weeks. It was in early March to mid-March that we finally started to recognize that the coronavirus was a serious health risk. And certainly the American Dental Association was in tune with that. So around mid-March, they issued a statement saying that all elective treatment should be suspended immediately, and only emergent treatment should be undertaken. The problem was, at that particular time, we really had no information, no guidance, no how to do things. And so it became very apparent to me that we were certainly in uncharted territory. And so what I did is I kind of stepped back and I said, how do we move forward? What do we do? And so I elected to close my office for 2 weeks. We actually shut the doors. None of my staff family came in for 2 weeks. We did not see a single patient. Now, what happened during that 2 weeks is we were bombarded with information. Every agency out there was sending us information, recommendations, facts. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. Through those 2 weeks, I cannot tell you how many articles I read, how many webinars I sat through. It just was a mass of information. And unfortunately, a lot of it was misinformation. And so we had to sift through that. And honestly, I would read something one day and I would say, oh, that's great. I think we can use that as we move forward. 2 or 3 days later, they would completely change it altogether. So I think it's important to realize that, during this time, we just didn't have the information that we needed to go forward. So what happened a little bit later on is the American Dental Association and the Georgia Dental Association, they finally came out with a criteria of what an emergent or an urgent patient looks like. So that was the first bit of information. And they started to give us some guidelines about how to see and treat those patients. So for the last few weeks, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have actually been seeing patients in the office for only emergencies or very urgent cases. And this has been important because these are people who needed our help. These are people who were going to end up in our hospitals with nowhere else to turn. And the primary reason for us being able to do this is to simply prevent that, to treat these people, get them better, keep them home, and keep them safe. And that was obviously the motivation of what we were doing. Now, going into this process, I had a limited staff. I only had 4 people. We were able to sit down and really walk through a beginning to end process on how we were going to see these patients. We took our time. We took the information. We decided we're only going to see 1 patient at a time. We're not going to have multiple people in our office. And we kind of developed a layer of safety, a blanket of safety, where we knew we could protect the patient, protect ourselves. And it has allowed us to go through a process where we've learned things, how to do things better. And so these past few weeks have gained us a lot of information that's going to help us as we go forward. The office looks a lot different. One of the first things we did was just a lot of physical changes. There's not that many chairs in our reception room anymore. And all those great books that everyone likes to read and the pamphlets that we like to give out, those are nowhere to be found. And as much as we love to provide, a soft drink or water, and especially all of you who love that K-Cup Keurig coffee, you're just not going to find those things anymore. Like I said, we're just in a different time. And until we understand things fully, we are going to do every precaution we can possibly to keep you safe. I realize that all of us have been affected in some small way or even in big ways by the coronavirus. One of the hardest things I did during this time was, my staff family, and they are my family. We spent a lot of time together, and I truly, truly love each and every one of them. But during this time, I went from a staff of 11 down to a staff of 4. But I also realized something during this time. We've been given a gift, whether we realize it or not. We've been given a gift of time. Time is so valuable, it's precious, we never can get it back. We get in our busy lives and we're running and we're going, but during this time, We've had to slow down. We've had no options. We've been given the gift of time. And we've tried to use it wisely at my office. Like I said, I have been educating myself, reading, webinars, but also my staff. I've been sending them information that they've been able to read so that they can learn more about the virus, how we're going to practice. I've sent them videos that they've been watching. We've been doing frequently asked questions. We're learning, we're gathering information, we're gathering knowledge, and we're becoming better. So sometimes there's a side effect of things, and certainly time has been beneficial in allowing us to do these things for myself and for my staff. You know, it reminds me kind of the core principle of our practice. If you ask anyone of the family that works for me, what do? They will simply say, we take care of people. We don't do surgery. We don't do procedures. We just take care of people. And I don't think that could be any stronger than it is right now. I mean, right now, it really truly is about taking care of people. And that will always be our ultimate goal and our passion. I want to leave you with a few thoughts as I end this video. First, there'll be another video that you really need to watch. It's going to be a stepwise progression of how we're going to see patients, how you're going to make it to our office. You know, we're going to be implementing processes and changes. And some of these may not even make sense to you, but please, we ask you to be understanding, okay? Please be understanding. These are difficult times. These are the changes that we need to make right now, even if they do seem inconvenient to you. You know, this is not the time to learn as we go, okay? Of course, we've all heard that things are opening up, that people can get out. Well, you know, this is not the time just to open the doors either. This is not business as usual, okay? This is something that has to be implemented strategically to make sure that we take care of you safely, keep myself safe, as well as my staff family. You know, it's really hard to believe that just literally a few weeks ago, our world was actually turned completely upside down. You know, I've struggled with coming to grips with this, and I think we all have. You know, there's been frustration. You know, things have seemed overwhelming at times, and honestly, a lot of fear has crept in. But the more I took time to kind of digest things, you know, I just kind of started to slow down and see things just a little bit differently. Maybe my eyes opened up a little different. And I'm going to have to say, I honestly do have a little bit of guilt about that. You know, why do we always have to have some event? You know, does there have to be suffering for us to realize that we got to slow down? We need to see things differently. We need to, you know, be grateful for what we have and in the little things. You know, and it just should not be the case that we should have to go through difficulties like this. You know, as we move forward, you know, we're in this thing together. We hear that a lot, but it's the truth. Each and every one of us is going to get through this together if we work together and we have patience, a little more understanding. So please bear with us. Please know that my thoughts and prayers are with us all. And I hope as we work through this process, maybe we come out just a little better on the other side.